put those 9 guys in the lineup, they all have that compete factor, don't they?
Well, you'd like to think so. They have to go do it. But most of our players, and had a really outstanding question from a young man today at our dugout club. Said, what's been your biggest challenge on the season? And it was a great question. And one of them, the obvious answer is, putting together a competitive pitching staff. But the biggest challenge for me is the whole season has been trying to keep really good kids, like, that they're all good kids, but they want to win. They unfortunately want to be perfect, knowing that there is no such thing as perfection in baseball, and keeping them confident. And a guy like Austin Boast, who's been an All-American player, he has a 2-week stretch where he hits 14 or 15 balls over 95 miles an hour and only has 4 hits to show for it because he's hitting them right at somebody. And then, hey, stick with it, buddy. You're fine. Don't look at the batting average. That's not who you are, right? And but even a guy who's been around that long starts to press, starts to chase balls out of the strike zone, tries to do too much. He did he had 7 walks during that time, so he was getting on base, and then when he got his pitch, he put a good swing on it. It just wasn't falling in for him, and so really the whole season's been has been trying to. As a coach, my job is to hold them accountable to playing clean baseball, but at the same time, it's to be their biggest cheerleader and biggest supporter, and so that's been one of the bigger challenges.
You used this phrase with me, even though it was about the pitching, about the microscope and the telescope, right? There are things. Does it also apply to what you were saying about hitters? If you're aiming just for a hit, you want the quality at bat, right? Is that also a microscope, telescope type thing?
Well, you can't control getting a hit. I mean, in this sport, you can take the world's worst swing on the pitcher's best pitch, and it trickles down the third base line, or it flares over the second baseman, and the box score says you got a hit, and the scoreboard says you got a hit. But was that really a good swing? Was it really a good at bat? Yeah, we'll take it. Because we know that there's other times where you get your pitch to hit, you put a great swing on it, you hit a line drive right to the shortstop at 102 miles an hour, and the box score says you're out, and the umpire says you're out. And you have to look at that as, I did everything I could possibly do, and you have to take the confidence from that. Or you drew a walk, or there's a runner at second base and nobody out, and you got that guy to third base, or there's a runner at third base and less than 2 outs, and you got the guy in, right? And so we keep a quality at bat. I never, ever talk to a hitter about batting average. I talk to him about quality at bat percentage, basically. And when we go 55% or so better, 55% or better as a team in a game, we win over 85% of the time. And so it's just, control the things you can control. What can a pitcher control? Executing a quality pitch. He can't control what the umpire does. He can't control what the hitter does. If the guy hits it to the shortstop, he can't control what the shortstop does. He can just control executing a quality pitch. And a hitter, anything he can somewhat control is the pitches that he swings at and putting together a quality at bat.
One thing that Jimbo Fisher talks about during football, win your space, win it more times than your opponent, the scoreboard will say what you want it to say. Same thing for win that pitch, either as the pitcher or as the hitter, and do that more times, the scoreboard will say what you want to say.
Yeah, and then do it again, and then do it again.
Right.
And you have to fall in love with the process. You have to fall in love with being boring. Like, you have to fall in love with that. And, and it sounds coachy, but you really have to play to a standard, not a scoreboard. So, like last night, if we had outfielders, ironically, they're both here tonight. And I love them both. And baseball is an imperfect game played by imperfect people. I said this earlier. So as much as those guys know that they're human,
right?
And 99 times out of 100, Brett Minnich's not going to do that, but he did it on that time, and and the ball, Trevor didn't stop it, and the pitcher wasn't there, and we gave away a run, and so like last night, if we wouldn't have done a couple of those things and they beat us 3-1, I can go home and say, hey, we got our tails beat tonight. They had 12 hits, we had 4, and we threw a lot of strikes, but they got the 2. Taylor Smith got a big 2-out hit. The guy at the bottom of the order got a big 2-out hit. Okay, we didn't get the timely hits. Congratulations, UTSA. We threw strikes. We played clean baseball. We just didn't get a hit. Okay, I can live with that. But the things we can't live with, or I have trouble with, is, anything that we spend a lot of time on. So we spend a lot of time on throwing the ball to the right base. We spend a lot of time on base running, right? We spend a lot of time on stepping back on line drives, not getting doubled off like we did last night, right? So if I lose my mind over something, it's going to be something like that in my mind, I know they're not going to be perfect, but that is a controllable versus, 2-out hitting or hitting with runners in scoring position, right? You can put together a quality at bat, but you can't control, getting a hit. So, so I don't even know what your question was, but
you're getting so much like Buzz, it's not even funny.
Yeah, he's way smarter than me.
But Buzz will circle, and then somehow I don't know, he does come back, or he does remember, or I'm not sure. And sometimes he does it before we run out of time, and sometimes he does it after. Yeah. So either way.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in our team. Yeah. I really do. I really believe. And I tell them all the time, like, when I wake up every day, it's like, all right, this is the best version of Troy Wonsing. It's going to happen today, because I've seen it. I know he can do it. Let's go, And I see him at their absolute best, and trying to get the players to visualize themselves at their absolute best, knowing it's not going to be perfect. But this is a game, man, like, especially in this conference, but even just the game of baseball itself, it'll eat you alive. And it eats me alive. Yeah. And the fans are awesome. They're awesome. But just imagine, I had some people ask me some questions earlier today, and I know how much A&M baseball means to them. Take how much it means to you, and then multiply it times 1 million, and that's how much it means to me. And then multiply it times another 1 million, and that's how much it means to Brett Minnich. He's the one in the batter's box. Right. He's, the poem, the man in the arena, right? The guy who's on the mound. Like, just imagine what it means, the person who's out there in front of everybody. So I'm still excited about our club. I believe that we're going to go on a great run, but you can't wish it. You can't. You have to do it.
It will be Missouri on Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Olson Field at Bluebell Park. That's what's up next for the Aggies. And we still have more of Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle to come. Stay with us. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Our friends at 44 Farms invite you to enjoy their premium all-natural Angus beef by visiting 44steaks.com. 44 Farms is the official beef of Fightin' Texas Aggie Athletics. And 44 Farms sponsors this segment of the Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle. You know how much of a kick it is to talk about the 44 Farms meat of the order, and then Bob McLaren texts and says, hey, that sounds really good? I still kind of geek out at stuff like that.
Yeah.
A friend of yours?
He is.
Right? Very much a friend of yours.
Baseball guy.
Very much a
baseball guy.
Absolutely.
Very, very dear friend, and been a big help to me since moving to College Station.
Jim, back to this team, Missouri this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You said something when we were talking about Chris Cortez, and you said there are guys who just absolutely care. And care something, and you said, I don't want him to be careless. I want him to care less. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, one of the issues with young people today, and it filters into older people as they get older, especially with social media, is, they identify who they are with what they do, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm the same way. When we lose, like, I'm the worst person ever to be around. I can't sleep. I don't want to eat, but I'm hungry. Everything tastes horrible. It's that bad, right? And I don't know if that's the case in other professions. I've never been anything but a coach. But as a player, as a young player, baseball is something that you do. It's not who you are, right? And when a guy is, when you get older and you get married, and then you identify, I'm a husband, and then you have children, I'm a father, and I also play baseball, right? And so, but especially as a young guy, they identify, everything goes into it, and then you have a guy like Cortez who really cares, and he wants to please, and he works his rear end off, and if you can dream it, he'll do it. Like, he'll go do it to make himself a better pitcher, to the point that he goes over the top. And then the greatest thing I've seen all year with regard to Chris Cortez is he smiled on the field after he struck out those two guys against Texas State. I've never seen him smile on the field, ever. And that's not good, because it's the umpire doesn't say work ball, he says play ball.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's a game. We know how much rides on everything. We know how important it is to the fans. We know how important it is to the university. We know how important it is to us. But at the end of the day, you can't play it that way, And so it's that fine line of being prepared to play and then going out there tomorrow night. All right, boys, go have a good time and let's have some fun, But how do you spell? Is how you spell it.
Yeah.
That's how you spell it. And so, but Chris is just a guy that he's got to find that line in his career where he just allows his ability to come through. And so we're still watching him, grow up.
Yeah. But he has that that compete part, that preparation part. Another Jimbo line. You would rather say whoa than giddy up.
Right.
You don't have to tell him to giddy up, right?
No.
And the whoa is more of enjoy what you do. Again,
right.
You get to play this game.
Right. And Chris along with Trevor Werner went on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic, Haiti, I think, with Mikado and those guys. And he came back, and I asked him, what'd you learn? He said, well, it just gave me great perspective on where baseball fits and how lucky we are to live in the United States, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm constantly reminding him of that. And even sometimes when I bring him in the game, hey, man,
right.
Remember how those people just searching for water, running water in the DR? Look around. Just enjoy this, brother,
Right.
You're prepared. You've done everything you could possibly be to have success. You deserve success. Allow yourself to have success. And he's not there yet. Hopefully he'll be, he'll turn that corner again this weekend.
Absolutely. The one thing I love to see in Auburn was in Game 2 of the doubleheader and ultimately the deciding game in that series. Here's Brad Rudis, and Brad Rudis gives the ball to Brandon Garcia, and after every big play, if it wasn't Max Coffer celebrating with Brandon, it was Brad Rudis was the first guy out of the dugout. Jim, that joy for one another it permeates throughout your team, doesn't it?
Well, it permeates throughout the good teams, that's for sure. I mean, you play the game for each other, and so I look for those things.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a few instances. You don't get to pout when you come out of the game. Your job is everybody. If you pitch poorly, or let's just say it's a pitcher, when I come and take you out of the game, you can go back in behind the dugout if you want to let off some steam. I mean, we're not going to throw things or, pound fists in the walls. But if you want to get back behind the dugout and you need a couple minutes to regroup, that's fine. But by the time the live pitch is thrown, if I took you out of the game and I brought Brad into the game, well, then you can go blow off some steam. But when Brad gets ready to throw, you better be the guy on the top step of the dugout.
Right.
You better be cheering him on, and you better. And let's say you left first and second, one out, and he pitches his way out of it. You better be the first guy to go high five him because he cleaned up your mess.
Right.
And so we've had a few instances where I don't know if guys get selfish necessarily, but they stay back behind a little bit too long. Like what the heck are we doing? We play for each other. We root for each other, and that's hard to do because it's an emotional game. It's really hard to do for guys consistently that don't play a lot. And I get it, and nobody wants to not play. But the game, like life, tends to reward the people who invest in other people.
Yeah.
If you're selfless, i.e. selfless service, and if you're selfless and you get, the more you give, then the more life tends to turn back your way. And so it's not always that way, but it's more often than not that way. And so we try to instill that in our players.
Wanted to ask you, you have an opportunity with Jack Moss, Ryan Targach, Austin Boast. You get a chance where they don't have to be in the same position every single game. You can have Jack be DH first base. You get Ryan there at first base. Ryan can also play second. How fresh does that keep them, and does that help you throughout a season?
Yeah, I think it helps guys throughout the season. I think, I get a lot of lineup questions, and that's one of the beauties of baseball is a lot of people have played it, right? You don't have to be, 6'5", and you don't have to be crazy fast, and you can. It's a common person's game, right? And so, and I get it. And the questions are they're valid questions. Like, why do you do this? Why does this guy DH sometimes? Why does he? And there are some things I can answer, and some things I don't want to answer because I don't want the other team to know. Seriously, and then those guys' particular situation. just one thing that I put into play is they're all 3 draftable players. And so one thing I have to account for in our sport is those guys have a future in baseball. And so for a guy like Targac, I can't just stick him at DH. That's not fair to him. The scouts need to see him play second base. The scouts need to know he can play third base. They need to know he can play first base. And, I call him BTU. He's the utility guy, right? He's the guy that can bounce out. I think he could play center field. Mm-hmm. He runs good enough. So, so you got to keep their ego fed a little bit, and nobody wants to be stuck over there at DH all the time. And it's common knowledge that part of having Austin come back and not sign professionally was hey, you have every chance to win the everyday job at second base. You got to go win it,
right?
But if you go do it, so that's just one small consideration that goes into play. At the end of the day, I'm going to put the best group out there that I think gives us the best chance on that particular day. There are things Jack does as a first baseman, for instance, plays really well around the base, right? The way I measure a first baseman's defense is the throwing errors or lack thereof of the other infielders. As long as you can catch the one that's hit right to you and flip it to the pitcher or run over and touch first base, that's fine. Now, if you have a really athletic player, that's great. But Jack's really good around the base, and he's gotten even better as an infielder. Mm-hmm. Ryan is a guy that can bounce around and play different infield positions. He's a little more mobile than Jack, but Jack's an elite defender at the base. So that's a good question, but there's a lot that goes into every single one. I just don't pick it out of a hat,
right.
I promise you.
Austin boasts the things that it's more than just taking ground balls. I know that's a big part of it, but him applying the tag on the 2 guys who get caught stealing.
Great.
Right? He wasn't able to do that as well last year.
No, and turn a double play against Alderman on the base. With
against
the game we hit the walk-off homer. Everybody remembers Targac's homer, but number 12, the big power hitter, we had the bases loaded and 1 out, and he can run. And he hit like a medium hit 5 ground ball to Werner, and Bose turned that double play quick. Mm-hmm. And last year he could not do that.
Right.
He could not do that, and he couldn't do it consistently. And then glad you mentioned it because I pointed it out to our team today, the tag that he had, it was an awesome throw by Max, I think. But it was a bang-bang play, and Austin did a perfect job of being in position and applying a quick tag to that guy and selling it to the umpire. I'm not sure if he was out or safe. It was close. But
if he doesn't make that tag, he's not going to call
sloppy
him out.
with it, then so those are the intricacies of being a really good baseball player. And Austin is doing a good job of that.
When we come back to the Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle, we will be joined by Brett Minnich and Jace Laviolette. The student athletes are up next. Stay with us. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Mas Fajitas is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Come by and see us at our College Station location off Highway 6 for great food, great drinks, and great service. Mas Fajitas, proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. This is the Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle. Schloss leaves. Brett Minnich joins us. Jace Laviolette joins us. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Of course.
And Brett's still keeping his hat on, isn't he?
I did.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. He's a pro. This is his second appearance.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, why here? Why'd you choose Texas A&M, Jace?
Yeah, so this obviously wasn't my first choice. I was actually committed to LSU. Some of y'all may not know that, but I was committed to LSU before, and I came here with Coach Kane, and really and truly this whole coaching staff drew me in here, and ever since I've gotten here, it's been the best decision I've ever made in my life. And I'll say it, and I'll keep saying it for the rest of my life, that not only has this school and baseball, obviously, not only has it taught me how to be a man, but it's also just brought me closer to people who I never would have thought I would come close to. And I mean, I don't regret it at all, and I never will.
How much does it help you that a veteran like him is able to give you advice because he's gone through it already?
Yeah, every day. I mean, I'm learning new things every day, and that's what we preach, is just keep learning, never stop learning. And every day I get to see him in the box, and it just really and truly, if you look at him and then look at me, how we're pitched kind of the same. And I just watch his at-bats and see what he goes through, and then it just gives me motivation and teaches me what I need to do. And even whenever he was hurt, he was always in the dugout just giving me things and just giving me tips as to what I need to do and how I can do things better. And it's awesome just having a leader by my side and just every day being able to go to him and just ask what I need.
Brett, you were this guy, right, and asking the questions. Now they're coming to you for advice, aren't they?
Yes, sir. That's crazy to think about. Even, I feel like I'm not that old, but I'm 23 years old now. So, but yeah, it's great just being like a little mentor for the younger guys and just, being through the grind of the SEC and everything like that. So it's just good to reflect knowledge on them and give them little tips and pointers here and there.
It's one thing to make the jump from high school to college ball. I think it's another to go from high school to SEC ball.
Yeah.
I think it's another level. Is it? And how's the adjustment been?
Yeah, it's definitely another level, but I think that the preparation that I got before the season has helped me tremendously. And then I really try and not think of it as I'm playing SEC ball. I really just try and think of it as like I'm just playing baseball. I've been doing it my whole life, and I just have to stay calm and stay true to what I've been doing my whole life, and that's just having fun. That's the biggest thing for me, is just to have fun, because once the fun leaves, then it's just,
find something
as Coach Schloss says, it'll chew you up and it'll spit you out with no remorse.
Yeah.
This game can just eat you alive, and that's what you have to try and stay away from and just have fun.
You want to know a funny story about that?
Yes.
Remember when he hit 3 home runs against Lamar in the fall?
Yes.
You know what he said when he came back in the dugout?
What?
This is fun. This is fun. I was like,
It was
just recreate
fun.
that feeling.
It was fun.
Says the guy who came back hitting 2 home runs.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
What's this guy talking about?
He still hit more than me.
You played hurt all last year and didn't let anybody know. It was a sports hernia.
Yes, sir.
How did you battle through that?
It was tough some days, but honestly, I think it was a little bit worse than I really thought. We kind of thought it was like a hip flexor, problem, and got an MRI on it. Didn't really show anything. That was during the season, so kept playing on it and everything. And then it just kept hurting, kept getting worse at the end of the season. And so I actually asked for a second MRI they have to go deeper to show the hernia, and so that's how we found out. So I really didn't know it was that bad at first, and I was just kind of just playing through it, not thinking it was anything, and then at the end it kind of revealed that it was surgical.
Did getting stronger this offseason help with that recovery as well?
For sure, yeah, and especially just because during this recovery I was able to gain weight and everything. I've said this before, but Coach had me on the seafood diet, which is seafood and eat it, not seafood diet. So that helped me gain a lot of weight. Obviously not playing in the fall, not being out there for practice and everything and burning those calories obviously helped a little bit too. So now just trying to keep the weight, maintain it, and move around with the bigger frame that I have.
Was it frustrating when you broke your thumb?
A lot of emotions ran through my head at that point. There was a lot of, why me, why this, my senior year, first at bat of my senior year and everything. But, in the end, big in my faith. And so that's just one thing I turned to and just kind of prayed about it and everything. At the end of the day, I think it helped me as a man just going through that. And then as a team, I got to be around the coaches a lot and just around the team more in the dugout. So I just think, in the end, it was a good thing. Whether I look at it like that or not, you just got to take the positives from things like that. So,
sports isn't always fair.
Nope.
Right? You know that if you're playing. Okay, I asked JT earlier today at the media availability what it's like being a center fielder between you guys. So I will ask you now, what's it like being corner outfielders and having JT play center with you guys in that outfield?
It's actually pretty fun, but the thing that he hates is whenever we during a pitching change, how we go to center field and meet, and me and Jace are standing out there, and JT's in the middle, and he's all mad about being so small, and we're 6'4", 6'5" giants around him, so he's not too happy about that. But it's fun, just he's a veteran, so he can do a lot of things out there. He can cover some ground, so it makes it easier on us out there. And he's a pretty good leader out there. There's some signs and everything that goes into it and things like that, but it's really good to have him out there.
Does it help you?
Especially for me being a freshman here and just having a dude like JT out in center field, it's amazing because sometimes I'll be honest, I get a little bit lazy with looking in to Mike, and JT will just give me a little, hey Jace, look at Mike, and I'll check over there, and Mike wants me to move, so that's always good. And then it's just having a veteran player out there like JT, it's always nice to have because he knows how to play the game. He plays it correctly. He plays it hard. And then also just his at-bats, too. I mean, they've been tying together really well, and he's starting to trust the process, and it's awesome.
I asked him what it's like to walk into the lobby, and there's the photo from Omaha of JT and Trevor with the high five. And JT says, look, it's special to see that. I just wish my legs weren't bent, and it looks like the high schooler trying. He goes, but again, same thing with you guys in center. Yeah. Trevor's tall. JT goes, if we could have been on the ground, this would have been a whole lot better.
Yep. You know, those short people, they're self-conscious about their height.
But just so special. Brett, your memories of the run through Omaha.
Yeah, I mean, obviously to start, you know, as a kid, that's what you dream of. And that's what you work your whole life towards to get in that moment. So that was a great time. And then, you know, Coach Schloss actually asked us earlier in the year. Before that, he was like, would you snap your fingers and go to Omaha or Super Regional? Or would you choose to go throughout the journey and go through the ups and downs and everything and end up in Omaha? And so that's what makes it the most special, was that run, that kind of season-long ups and downs that we went through. That was what made it special to me. And so, you know, going through that and knowing what it takes and everything is helpful for this year's team, because a lot of the people on this, Trevor and Tar and everyone, Bose and Jack, know what it takes to get to that level. And so you know how to take the blows, how to take the punches and everything and respond to that. So that's just what we're trying to harp on these guys.
Did you get caught up in the run knowing that you were going to join this team eventually?
It was awesome to see, and I knew that a lot of people were coming back, and I was excited to get to school, right? But I couldn't really say, oh, that's. I mean, obviously it's awesome, but I couldn't really just focus on it too much because I knew that we had this year and really want to do the same exact thing, but actually just win it all this time. So.
That's the beauty about this group that has come in. That is now the standard, right? And everybody knows that. That's what you want to do every single year, correct?
100%.
Yeah. Brett, more special because of how that group came together last year?
Yeah, it was really special. You know, obviously last season didn't start off how we wanted it to, and this season hasn't either. So I think just taking the blows and rolling with them, responding to adversity, how close we are as a team compared to last year is immensely similar. And, you know, these guys love to play for each other and everything like that. So I just think there's a lot of similarities in this year's and last year's team. But, you know, honestly, there's a lot of new guys. So this is a whole new team.
Right.
And so you can't kind of take what we did last year, because at the end of the day, we made it to Omaha, but that's not our goal. Our goal is winning a national championship, like Jace said. And so, you know, like I said before the season this year, it's not just to make it back to Omaha, it's to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what we kind of harp on these guys, and they've done a great job.
We have Brett Minnich. We have Jace Laviolette. We will continue with the Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle. When we continue from Rudy, stay with us. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Hey, Talkman, there's really no better way to describe the uniqueness of Walk-On Sports Bistro. We start every dish from scratch and use fresh ingredients to bring our mouth-watering Cajun cuisine to life. And whether you're here for dinner, with the family, date night, cocktails with the girls, or to watch a game on the big screen, we're always happy to share our Louisiana culture with you. Walk-On's proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Continuing with the Aggie Baseball Hour, we thank you for joining us behind the mic. Jace Laviolette, Brett Minnich. I'm Andrew Monaco. We continue every Sunday, or it would be a Saturday if the series ends on Saturday. There are autographs. You sign autographs in the dugout. First and foremost, do you remember the first time you gave someone an autograph?
I actually do. I was in Florida for this perfect game thing, and I had never given an autograph before, and the first time a kid ever came up to me and asked me for my autograph, it was really cool. It was an experience that I'll never forget, but that autograph was horrible. It was terrible.
What did you sign?
A baseball.
Where? Did you sign the horseshoe?
I think I did.
Did you? Okay.
I don't remember exactly where I signed it, but I just remember that it was not the best signature I've ever done.
Have you practiced?
I haven't practiced, but I've definitely gotten a lot better.
Gotcha.
So, luckily.
You remember your first autograph?
I do. It actually wasn't until I got here.
Really?
Yeah. So, what was that, 2 years ago now? A lot more recent than Jace, but yeah. And I did not sign the I did sign the horseshoe.
Gotcha.
On the side, because the very middle sweet spot of the ball is for Coach, and we're not allowed to sign there.
Gotcha. Now, when Chuck Knobloch was in the minors, refused to do it because his feeling was you do that once you're a Hall of Famer.
I mean, I get that, but I also get the other side of it to where I was once that kid asking for an autograph.
Yep.
And so me going out of my way to sign one autograph is nothing. And to make that kid's day is a lot more special. And so that's my point of view on it. But obviously others have other point of views.
Great to win on Sunday and sign, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It's just a capper of the day.
I love it. It's actually a really good feeling to have all those kids come out and want to be there.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
And you all spoil Ryan Targach's nieces as they run the bases. I know that. You talk about an uncle who spoils. That's Targo, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
That's special. Do you guys have an autograph that you cherish that you had gotten?
I talked about this earlier today, but my mentors growing up were Rusty Greer and Bobby Witt. They kind of coached me when I was a young kid. And so at one of my younger birthday parties, I was probably turning 10 years old, they actually gave me some signed balls that I've kept onto for my whole life. And so they're still hanging up in my room at my house in Colleyville. So that's pretty special to me, just because they were kind of the first real baseball coaches and mentors that I had in the game.
That's cool. That's so cool. Do you have one that you cherish?
I do not.
No?
Sadly.
Sign your own.
Yeah.
Did you play another sport besides baseball?
I did. I played basketball up until high school, and then once I got to high school, I just kind of wanted to focus all on baseball because this was my dream to play. And, so I just want to pursue baseball.
I know this guy did. Defensive Player of the Year? Were you?
Something like that.
Were you?
On my own team, not in the district. But
Yeah.
On your own team?
Yeah,
they voted for it.
We talked about this last year. If you look up his huddle highlights for basketball, he takes an inbound and just fires away.
Do you?
You only have so much time on a huddle, right?
That is right. That is, yeah.
So Schloss kind enough to join us for a basketball game because, as you guys know, Buzz Williams came into the booth for baseball during the regional and in Omaha, and then after his first pitch. Schloss joins us halftime the Arkansas game. Hayden Hefner hits the shot before the half, and Schloss on the air says, "Oh, that's the Brett Minnich lookalike."
Yep.
Hayden Hefner.
Heard that one a lot.
So I told Schloss, and I hope Buzz isn't listening, I said, obviously Schloss knows who Hayden Hefner is. I guarantee you Buzz has no idea who Brett Minnich is. Probably not.
Oh, wow.
No, I only say that because Buzz is in the – Schloss is everywhere, right? He's everywhere. He's at basketball, men's, women's, softball. He's, with Tricia Ford. He'll be at track. He's at football practice, and he has said, look, I like to watch other coaches coach. For you guys, do you like to go to other sporting events on campus, and do you appreciate what the other student athletes are doing as well?
Yeah, 100%. I like to go out to really every other sporting event that I can get to, and it's just because, I know all the effort and time and everything that goes into being a student athlete, and it's just awesome to watch them also chase their dreams. It's awesome to watch literally everybody else who's in the same position as me live out their life and live out their dream. So, 100%.
Yeah, I've gone to pretty much, not every one, but every other sport on campus and seen a game. And I just think, like what Jay said, it's pretty cool to see other people that, and you see when you're eating dinner and things like that, to just know that they're with you and they're going through the same thing that you are. And so they're chasing their childhood dream just like we are.
How awesome was it that between the first and second quarters of the Miami game, you had 100,000 at Kyle Field appreciate your run to Omaha? Yeah,
that was special. Like Coach has always preached on, at the end of a college baseball season, you don't really get, a lot of praise or anything like that, just because at the end of the season, it's in the middle of the summer, especially if you go to Omaha, and everyone just parts their ways. No one gets to really see each other after that. And so that was kind of cool, just recognizing last year's season, especially in front of the Kyle Field crowd.
How special to have your Aggie ring?
It's really special. I got to see Jack Moss and Alden Arrington get theirs today. But, it just connects you with so many people without you even knowing, just when you're in public or anything like that, and you see someone with an Aggie ring on. It's just special, and I don't think there's a connection in the world like it.
Jace, can you wait to earn that one?
Oh, I'm so excited because I just know what comes from it, and, I can't wait.
I cannot thank you both enough. Thank you so much for being here. As always, best of luck the rest of the way, but this was an absolute joy. Thank you both.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks for having us.
Jace, Laviolette, Brett Minnich, the Aggies. We close out the Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle, the coach, rejoins me. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Baseball and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy's smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. Well, we were just talking about autographs, and there they are in the back of Rudy's. Jace, Laviolette, Brett Minnich, our thanks to them. Jay said he had that practicing the autograph, right? Do you remember giving your first autograph?
I don't.
No?
Yeah.
Conversely, do you have an autograph you cherish, one that you've gotten?
Oh, I do. Roger Staubach, number one. And my two all-time favorite. My favorite players growing up as a kid when I was in football, Roger Staubach. In baseball, Carl Yastrzemski. And in basketball, Dr. J. So I do have all of their autographs, and I coached. I actually got to watch Yaz's son Mike play in my hometown, and then the grandson played at Vanderbilt and is now a great player in the major league. So yeah, those would probably be my three favorite ones.
Very cool. I've got he shared with me the Indiana story on the plane. I'll share with you a Dr. J story at another time when we do that. Missouri comes in. Have you had a chance to take a look at the Missouri Tigers, and what will the Aggies face in this series?
Yeah, their club obviously got off to a great start in conference play, swept Tennessee, then had some big injuries, on the mound. So they have one of the best players in the league in Luke Mann, super talented, physical, left-handed hitter. They're very, very well coached. Coach Beezer's been there for a couple years, and he's very super intelligent guy, really into the analytics and new age type stuff. So I still have about 12 hours worth of video to watch between now and tomorrow afternoon, but a lot of right and left-handed hitters, predominantly right-handed pitchers on the mound, a couple of left-handed relievers, but they just beat Vanderbilt a game and played them tough too up in Columbia. So we'll have our hands full, and again, we've proven we can play with anybody and lose to anybody. So it's most of the time it's way more about, and I'm sure Coach Beasley would tell his team that it's way more about how we play versus who we're playing. If we throw strikes to the bottom of the strike zone, pitch ahead in the count, get off the field, finish the inning with 2 outs, and then have competitive at bats, we'll be fine. It's going to turn out the way it's supposed to be. But got a big weekend of hopefully fans with Parents Weekend, and being on national television tomorrow night. That's always a good thing. So. Guys are excited. We're ready to go. Nice to have Nathan on that mound, too, continue what he did so well against Auburn. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see if he can build on that, because I thought other than, trying to get out of that one inning and he gave up 5 runs with 2 outs, I thought it was the best he's been all year. So if he can build on that, get us off to a good start, and that'll play the rest of the weekend. We will see you on Thursday. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much. I'll be there. I'm always at the start of the games. Always. He is Jim Schlossnagle, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, who take on Missouri. This is the series. 7 o'clock tomorrow at Olsen Field at Bluebell Park. We will join you at 6:45 with our pregame show, and that includes the Wells Fargo warm-up with Jim Schlossnagle. Friday at 6, and then Saturday at 12:30, the series for the Aggies against the Missouri Tigers. Kevin Menchow is the engineer of the Aggie Baseball Hour here at Rudy's, and Ray Clappmeyer is the producer in our Learfield studios. For Schloss, for Brett, for Jace, I'm Andrew. We thank you so much for joining us. Thanks and gig 'em. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield.